Welcome, Japanese woodblock print collectors and enthusiasts. Today I'm going to relate a true story of honor, loyalty, betrayal, revenge, and consequences. It's the famous story of the 47 samurai, and of course we're going to see some wonderful related prints by famous ukiyo-e artists. The 47 Ronin, also known as the Akko incident, happened in the year 1702. To provide some historical context, in the rest of the world around the same time, the first British daily newspaper was published, the War of the Spanish Succession was being fought, St. Petersburg was founded by Peter the Great, in America, Yale University was founded, and at that time, Japan was perhaps the most urbanized country in the world. It was ruled by the shogun Tokugawa Tsunayoshi, also known as the Dog Shogun. Why did they call him the Dog Shogun? No time to explain. You'll have to watch my video on my three favorite shoguns. So now you know what's happening in the world. Here's the short version of the Akko incident. There was a lord or daimyo of the Akko domain named Asano, and he upset a powerful court official named Kira. So Kira insulted him in the shogun's palace on purpose, forcing Asano to draw his sword. And you can see Asano in this print wearing the yellow. He's holding the sword and threatening Kira. It was illegal to take your sword out in the palace and threaten a court official, so Asano was ordered to commit seppuku. Seppuku is the ritualized suicide tradition that allows one to die with honor. After Lord Asano died, his lands were confiscated. His band of samurai, led by their captain, a man named Oishi, had no master. So they became Ronin, which means masterless samurai. And they were pissed at the court official Kira because he caused their lord's death, and they pledged an oath to revenge him. They trained and planned and waited for 18 months for the right time, and on a January night in 1702, they raided Kira's compound, fought a bunch of his men, killed 16 of them, and found him hiding in a shed. They offered him the honor of committing seppuku, but he was too scared, so they cut his head off and brought it to the temple where their master was buried. Then they turned themselves into the authorities. The shogun allowed them all to commit seppuku and die in honor. So that's what they did. And at the time, it was definitely big news. But over the subsequent years, the story wasn't thought about much until 1748. And do you know what brought back the 47 Ronin story into popularity and turned it into a national phenomenon? It was puppets. Yes, puppets. In Osaka, a puppet play entitled Kana Dehon Chushingura, or a Kana Primer for the Treasury of Loyal Retainers, premiered. It was a hit and it swept Japan. The twist was it wasn't very accurate. They made the story of the Akko incident into a relatable soap opera. It was like a period piece. It had sex, murder, suicide, a marriage, humor, and romance, with just a little bit of the 47 Ronin story. It was then quickly adapted for the kabuki stage. And this story was so popular, almost every major ukiyo-e artist from the Edo period created a print or series of prints around this theme. So we're talking thousands of prints. If you're a collector, you probably have one in your collection. I've divided the woodblock prints that relate to this story into three major types. The first type are prints with the name of Chushingura in the title. And these generally apply to stage performances and stories. Frequently, you'll see these prints divided into acts, like Act 1, Act 2, etc. The second type are 47 Ronin prints, which are not prints of actors on a stage, but images of the Ronin as warriors, as they might have appeared and acted. And the third type are parodies of the loyal retainers. These are the most fanciful, so it could be geisha as the 47 Ronin, or even bats. Let's start looking at some prints by Katsukawa Shunsho from 1771. His artistic style is fairly recognizable with angular compositions, strong faces, prominent facial features. Take a moment and appreciate this actor image from the series Fans of the East. The pose of the actor and his facial expression and the whole drawing style is quite remarkable. Next, Hokusai. These are scenes of the night attack, one of the most exciting parts of the story. The Ronin had planned and practiced this for many months, even to the point of assigning Ronin to calm the neighbors so that they knew it was a revenge attack and they would be safe. Imagine this playing out on the kabuki stage or in real life. If I had a time machine, this would be one of my stops. Now, with a more fanciful interpretation, let's go to Utamaro, the master of depicting beautiful, elegant women. These are from a print series, Chushingura drama parodied by famous beauties. Look at the beauty of his line work, so simple and expressive. I'll have to do a video on him soon. Kunisada gives us another print of Kira being dragged out of hiding by the Ronin. By historical accounts, he was an asshole, so don't feel so sorry for him. And here's a great portrait of Oboshi Rikiya from Kunisada's series Participants in the Night Attack. I want to point out the black and white kimono with the sawtooth pattern. I don't know who the first artist was that portrayed them wearing this pattern, but as you'll see, many artists used a similar black and white design when showing the 47 Ronin. And here's a triptych from the 1830s of the Ronin assembling at Ryogoku Bridge. Notice how they all have labels next to them with their names. That's because we have real biographies of all these Ronin. The artist Ando Hiroshige designed about 10 series of prints of this story. Almost all of them were scenes from the kabuki play and were in this horizontal oban format. In 1829, Utagawa Kuniyoshi, renowned for his warrior prints, designed his first Chushingura series. It was a 2-volume erotic or shunga version of the story. He went on to create over 20 series between 1829 and 1857 and many triptychs. Here are some of my favorite examples. Consistent with Kuniyoshi's playful nature, from 1839 we have Monster Chushingura. In 1847 we have one of the most well-known series, Stories of the True Loyalty of the Faithful Samurai. You'll see a lot of later artists duplicated this type of composition with a sparse background and the story or biography of the character wrapping around him. In 1847, we have this detailed triptych of the Ronin washing Kira's head and offering it to the grave of their master. In 1848, we have Stories of Faithful Hearts and True Loyalty. This series is interesting because it also depicts women related to the story. In this one, we see the maid of one of the Ronin that was killed, and in the round box in front of her is her master's head. In 1853, we have this beautiful series called Portraits of the Faithful Samurai of True Loyalty. I love the realism of these close-up portraits. Of course, my favorite artist, Toyohara Kunichika, created these colorful portraits of the Ronin. And Yoshitoshi from 1869 brings us historical biographies of the loyal retainers. He seems to have gone the route of his master Kuniyoshi's version of placing the Ronin on sparse backgrounds surrounded by their bio-information. This is a print of the captain of the 47 Ronin from the series 24 Heroes of Imperial Japan. And here is Night Attack of a Warrior from his new selection of Eastern brocade pictures. And last but not least, the painting demon Kawanabe Kyosai also did prints of the 47 Ronin in a series called Japanese Brocades from the Genroku Era. As you can imagine, this is one of the most popular prints from the series. I've left out so many artists and so many prints, but now you know the true story. A story, by the way, supported with eyewitness testimony, actual weapons used in the revenge attack, a signed confession, and a receipt for the head of Kira. Fun fact, one of the 47 Ronin lived. His name was Terasaka Kichiemon, and he was pardoned by the shogun, maybe due to his minor involvement in the attack. He lived to an old age and was then buried with his comrades. In Japan, on the 14th of December, Sengakuji Temple, where Asano and the Ronin are buried, holds a festival commemorating the event. I'll leave you with the death poem of Lord Asano before he was made to commit seppuku. He wrote, "More than the cherry blossoms inviting a wind to blow them away, I am wondering what to do with the remaining springtime." I hope you've enjoyed this woodblock print exploration of the 47 Ronin story. Please like and subscribe, and happy collecting.